Hey everybody, today I'm going to do a video ranking of all the Marvel Netflix shows, the different seasons, and what I think of them and where I put them in my hierarchy of TV. So let's go ahead and get with it. The, at the very back bottom of the list, at number whatever, the very end, we have Jessica Jones season 2. Now, disclaimer: I haven't finished this season, but I couldn't watch it anymore. It was just so terrible to me. Like, it was bad. I already don't like Jessica Jones as a character. I find her very unrelatable and unlikable. And the few characters I like from season one don't really either don't make it, or either they're either not in this season or they've been dumbed down where they're not very interesting at all in this season. So yeah, I didn't like this season at all. The lack of. I'm trying to keep these videos. I'm try to keep this video kind of spoiler light, but just know that none of the stuff I like from season one carried over, and that was just a very big disappointment. Next up on the list, we have Jessica Jones season one. Still, a lot of the same problems I have with the second season for the most part. I just don't like Jessica as a character, as a starring character. I don't like her. I like Trish a lot. Her kind of journey was interesting to watch, and of course, David Tennant plays an amazing villain, and he's most of the fun of the show is to watch him just being manipulative and crazy and just such a disturbing character he is. Uh, there's a few good action moments in here, and and the stuff with Luke Cage guest starring is fun. Overall, it's just not. It's one of the weaker shows in my opinion. Next up on my list, I have Iron Fist season one. Now I know a lot of people really didn't like Iron Fist, and they'd probably put it at the very bottom of the list, but I actually like this show. I understand there's some problems with it. I understand Danny is not the best actor sometimes. His fight choreography is not that great, especially for a character that's supposed to be the most badass fighter around. But I enjoyed the show nonetheless. The thing I really like about the show, I really liked Harold's character, and I really liked Ward's character. And Ward and Danny's interactions together are some of the best things about the season. Just they're kind of like friendship or rivalship, whatever you want to call it. And there are a couple of good fight scenes in this show. I mean, obviously it's not as good as it should have been. That was one of the big problems. And I also feel like Daredevil is just so much better at fight choreography that it overshadows this show. Especially since Daredevil shouldn't probably be as good of a fighter as Iron Fist, but he is. So yeah. Next up, we have Luke Cage season one. I like Luke Cage a lot. It's got a lot of style to it, a lot of flair. I love the musical choices in this show. Some of the issues they hit are really hardcore, and they tackle them in a strong way. I really like Cottonmouth as a villain. He's a great villain. Halfway through the second half of the season, we traded out Cottonmouth for Diamondback, which is not as good of a villain. He's still a fun villain. He's still menacing and has some really fun one-liners, but he feels too cheesy, and the back half of the season kind of suffers a lot from his dominance over that part of the season. I also didn't like Claire being a love interest for Luke Cage. I feel like Claire shouldn't hook up with any of the major characters because I don't know. I feel like she's better as a supporting character that just kind of links everything together. But this show is pretty fun. Like I said, it's got great action and musical choices, and it's fun to watch Luke Cage just power through people without breaking a sweat. Next up, we have the Defenders of the Universe. Oh wait, no, never mind, just Defenders. My bad. That was a joke. So Defenders it's okay. It was very disappointing for what it was. This show that's supposed to be like the mini Avengers, it's supposed to be like this combination of all these characters coming together. And it was that. It was fun to see those characters come together, meet for the first time, have interactions with each other. Especially the way they kind of separate the interactions, like they have Luke Cage and Iron Fist are always together, and they kind of have this interesting relationship, like friendship. Then you have this interesting friendship between Daredevil and Jessica Jones. It's not really a friendship, but more of just a kind of a mutual respect for each other and understanding of what each other's going through. There's some really great character moments, but when it comes to the actual story and the action, it's a little disappointing. The villains were very disappointing. The hand as the five fingers of the hand or whatever just didn't really come off as that great. There's some very slow pacing issues, especially for a show that's supposed to be about 4 badass people coming together. It felt very lackluster and slow and anti-dramatic or anticlimactic at times. So yeah. So granted, I'm not quite done with Luke Cage season 2 yet. I think I got like 2 or 3 more episodes left. But I'm really enjoying this show a lot more than the first season. I probably should have put this at the beginning of the video, but as of right now, this video is being published whenever Luke Cage season 2 is the newest show out right now, and Iron Fist season 2 is the next show to come out. So, I really enjoy this season a lot. I love the cameo episode with Luke Cage, or not Luke Cage, that is Luke Cage, with Iron Fist. I love the villain Bushmaster. Even though I liked Cottonmouth a lot as a villain, I find Bushmaster to be a much more interactive villain. Something about the way he talks is amazing. He just has some great line delivery. His facial expressions are great. He's extremely menacing. Every time you see him on screen, he has this presence that just demands, fear out of him. There's some great action moments. There's great shades moments, great character moments, some fun action, fun kind of comical stuff going on with different characters. And overall, it just goes in some really crazy places, and I really enjoyed it. And of course, the style and the music is always good, just like it was in Luke Cage season 1. Next up, we have Daredevil season 1. Giving credit where credit's due. We wouldn't even have the Netflix Marvel universe if it wasn't for Daredevil. This show, I think technically they actually were gonna put them all in production at the same time, but Daredevil's the one that showed the Netflix hierarchy that these shows could sell and that these shows are good. This is such a good show, guys. It's amazing. I love the narration. I love the way the story's set up, the way it kind of comes out. The pacing is really good. Every episode felt like it was just a masterpiece of storytelling, that it really flowed well together. I love the villain. Kingpin is just an amazing villain. The actor does a great job of conveying all these emotions, making you feel bad for the character at times, and other times you just want to slap him in the face. They do a great job. The same thing with Daredevil. Daredevil has so many layers to his character. There's so many strong themes. Everything from the strong Catholic themes to the themes of moral, right and wrong and morals, and to the corporate greed and everything, and just so much good stuff in this show. And what a pilot episode! The pilot episode is amazing. It's just so good, and I feel like it's just one of those shows where the quality just stays throughout the whole season. I never really had a problem with the quality. I always felt like it was top notch. Next up, we have Daredevil season 2. You guys all figured this was coming up, huh? There's no doubt in my mind that almost everybody's list is going to have this very high up. It such a good show, such a good season, great characters, amazing action moments. This was the hand done right. The hand was done so much better in this show than it was in say Iron Fist or Defenders. But just the stakes are increasingly higher. You got a great split between the Punisher story arc and Daredevil story arc. I actually personally like the Daredevil and Punisher story arc, crossover stuff at the first 4 episodes a lot better than the second half of the season. But it all kind of comes together, and it's really great. The only problems I have with this season is that sometimes it feels like they're juggling too much, too many different characters, and the quality kind of dips down a little bit, just a tiny bit, not too much. It's still worlds better than the other Netflix shows. And also, I feel like there's just too much love triangle stuff going on with Elektra and Karen and Matt. But I'm not a big fan of love triangles or romances in TV shows. But and this one's tolerable. There's some stuff the stuff they do in Arrow is untolerable. But this is okay. But it does dumb the show down a little bit, in my opinion. And at number 1, we have The Punisher, my all-time favorite Netflix show as of right now. Now, I will admit that I'm a little biased when it comes to Punisher. He's one of my favorite all-time characters. John Bernthal, the person portraying him in this show, is one of my all-time favorite actors. So yeah, I kind of put the show over Daredevil, even though I think Daredevil is technically a better. Daredevil season 1, I think, is technically a better show than Punisher season 1 or seasons, but I just like Punisher better. The character is so much more interesting to me. I enjoy even though Daredevil is an amazing character, I just enjoy watching Frank's journey, his redemption, or not redemption, his revenge story. There are some problems with the show, the pacing is a little slow at times. You know, there's, especially for a show about the Punisher, about a character called the Punisher that does what he does. You think the show would be a little bit more fast and furious, but it does have some slow emotional moments, which are really good. But it's just at times it's not what you're looking for from a Punisher show. Also, there are some characters that really probably didn't need to be in the show. Like Madani is just not a very compelling character in my opinion. But the show is still, whenever it focuses on the Punisher and Frank Castle, it's an amazing show. The only bad thing is sometimes the Punisher takes a back seat in his own show in certain episodes, and that's really disappointing. But I really do love this show. Like Jonathan Brithow does such a great job of conveying a broken man who's kind of savage, but also has, you know, an intelligent side to him. Every time Punisher freaking does that growl thing, I just get so freaking excited, man. It's like you know somebody's about to die, you know. And there's great action in the show throughout the show. I wasn't really a big fan of Agent Orange. He's an okay villain, but Billy Russo is definitely the better villain. But I think the show could have benefited from having more of a centralized villain. Even though there are kind of centralized, it's hard to explain, but I think the show could have did better from having a more mainstream villain. Micro is a great character as well. Really love him and Frank's relationship that they build throughout the season. So yeah, Punisher season 1, favorite Netflix show. Let me know in the comments what you guys' favorite Netflix Marvel shows are. Which ones you ranked, or which ones you would put, you know, differently or whatever. And let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe, buddies.